But let's go to Sheffield United against Aston Villa with Chris Waddle and Vicky Sparks.
Thank you, Mark. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bramall Lane. Aston Villa just about to get us underway here. After a fabulous season, they have stuttered of late. Can Unai Emery's side get back on track against the Premier League's bottom side as they kick us off playing from left to right? A win here would take Aston Villa into the top four against the Sheffield United side, who have taken just 2 points from their last possible 18 in the Premier League. But one of those was against Aston Villa, a 1-1 draw at Villa Park. And Chris Waddle, Sheffield United simply can't stop scoring at the moment, although they are without their top scorer, Ollie McBurney, for this one. He's got a muscle injury and failed a late fitness test.
Yeah, I think if you look at the sides, Villa is what we predict and what you expect with Villa, what we saw so far this season, which they've done very, very well. With Sheffield United, he's chopped and changed it, and I think now he's gone for a lot of energy. You know, he's put some young players in, a lot of pace, and I'm sure he'll have done his homework on Villa, where if you get the ball in behind them, especially when you've got the ball deep, you've got a very good chance of getting 1-1 through with the goalkeeper.
And they have one possession back from the kick-off Sheffield United. They have a free kick a third of the way inside the Aston Villa half on this left-hand side. James McAtee is standing over it and drives it in left-footed towards the edge of the penalty area. It's cleared away at the back by Aston Villa and will be picked up over on that far side by Mason Holgate. One of 5 changes for Sheffield United. Holgate making his debut after arriving on loan from relegation rivals Everton. The long ball forward is collected by Alex Moreno for Aston Villa. Had been on loan at Southampton in the Championship earlier this season. Mason Holgate hasn't played for Everton this season and was really struggling to get into the Southampton side, but recalled from that loan now with Sheffield United and looking to help them stay up, perhaps at Everton's expense. As Aston Villa have the ball inside their own penalty area. Longley with the ball out to Moreno. It's loose, almost latched onto in the centre of the penalty area by Will Asula, who's another one of those 5 changes, but Emi Martinez is out quickly. So, as we say, Ollie McBurney misses out for Sheffield United. Holgate makes his debut. Asula, Brooks, Norrington Davis and Fodringham also come in. Harmer and Robinson dropping to the bench. There's no Anis Ben Slimani in the squad. New number 1 Ivo Grbic has concussion. Brereton Diaz, though importantly, is fit and starts. And Tom Davis makes the bench for the first time since September after a thigh injury. Aston Villa win the free kick over on the far side. In possession, I should say, with Alex Moreno. Plays the ball forward, but it is intercepted by Sheffield United and cleared forward by Fodringham. Looking for Ben Brereton Diaz. He's had a brilliant start to his Sheffield United career after arriving last month. Down the left-hand side he goes. Ball is whipped into the centre of that penalty area, but cleared away by Aston Villa and Leon Bailey. Should be able to bring it away. Pulled back there, says our referee Paul Tierney, and Aston Villa have a free kick.
Well, that's a yellow card, but the referee will say it's too early in the game. That is a yellow card. They want to break Bailey, a lovely bit of skill, got the other side, and that's a yellow card. But the referee, and I think a lot of teams have worked Villa out now. You know, you watch Sheffield United, yeah, they've done their homework, like a lot of teams do now. They know they like to play out from the back, and if you look now, a lot of teams are squeezing Aston Villa and trying to stop them do this.
Down the left-hand side they go. Aston Villa, Ollie Watkins putting on the pressure, but the ball is steered all the way back to Fodringham by Ahmed Hodgic. Bailey, incidentally, one of 2 changes that Unai Emery has made for this game. Diego Carlos also coming in, Diaby and Cash dropping to the bench. New arrival Morgan Rogers is also among the substitutes as Ollie Watkins goes down and wins the free kick. Central position midway through the Sheffield United half. 0-0, 3.5 minutes played. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, so they're a little bit late again, a little bit naughty. In fact, Watkins was a little bit over the top there. Referee has obviously awarded the free kick, and at the minute he's basically telling players to settle down. I'm giving you one chance.
So, Aston Villa free kick. And 4 players around this, deep in discussion. John McGinn is there, Leon Bailey, one of those as well. Yuri Tielemans too, and Douglas Luiz is Sheffield United.
You've got to have a shot. You've got to have a shot. It's 25-30. You've got to have a shot. You know, they've got enough ability between them 3. Stand on the ball at a minute. Bailey, McGinn, Douglas Luiz. They've got enough ability there to get a shot on target.
Well, it is just shy of 30 yards out, but we know players like Douglas Luiz, players like John McGinn, who are the 2 left over this as Leon Bailey moves away, have the ability Will they go for goal, as former England winger Chris Waddle suggests? It will be laid off to McGinn, who does go for goal, as Douglas Luiz rolled it to him. And it was just over the bar. Half-time in the Six Nations. Wales against Scotland. David Jones.
Yeah, Scotland sublime, flawless. 2 first-half tries. Piers Schoeman, the prop. Wing Duan van der Merwe. Finn Russell has been excellent orchestrating play. The Scots utterly dominant. Wales with a mountain to climb. At the break, it's Wales 0. Scotland 20.
Thanks very much, David. Earlier in the Six Nations, England edging to victory away to Italy by just 3 points, 27-24. They came out on top as Ollie Watkins is strongly challenged by Mason Holgate. Advantage is played by referee Paul Tierney as Douglas Luiz drives the ball in from 36 yards that time, and it's straight down the throat of Wes Foderingham. 0-0.
Well, they're not hanging back, Sheffield United, in these challenges. I mean, they've had 3 fouls which could easily be 3 yellow cards, let's be honest. He's got them pumped up, and they know what they need to do. They need wins. You know, draws are, yes, confidence booster against a team like Villa, but it's results. They need wins, 3 points.
Yeah, winless in their last 6 Premier League games. Sheffield United, who have the throw just inside the Aston Villa half, taken long. Down the left-hand side they go with Will Osula, who's come out to this left wing. Ball into the edge of the area is intercepted by Alex Moreno, but will be picked up by Mason Holgate. Loops it over the head of Ben Brereton Diaz, but will be picked up by Reece Norrington Davis, finally making his first Premier League start of his career for Sheffield United. He makes it this afternoon. It's such a rotten time with injuries of late as they work the ball into the penalty area. Osula will play it back to Norrington Davis, cleared away by Aston Villa. Leon Bailey will pick it up on this right-hand side. Goalless in the early stages here at Bramall Lane on BBC Radio 5 Live. Just under 7 minutes played between the Premier League's bottom club, Sheffield United, and Aston Villa, who are looking to move into the top 4 with a victory. As we mentioned earlier, they could do it with a draw as well. It'd have to be 5-5 or upwards, but given some of the results in the Premier League today, maybe we shouldn't rule anything out, as Jayden Bogle loses it at the last, entering the Aston Villa penalty area, just into the box, dispossessed, and Aston Villa have the ball down by the byline and work it nicely to Moreno, who will bring it away. Chris Waddle.
Sheffield United have started at a terrific pace, haven't they? They're really among Villa, who like to take possession, play the game at their pace. A lot of time it's just possession, very slow, but Sheffield United well organised, and really I don't know how long they can keep it up, this tempo. Sheffield United, they'll come to the blocks very quick.
Oh, Ollie Watkins there wasn't going to reach that ball over the top. He goes down under a bit of pressure from Ahmed Hodgic. Just half a look there at referee Paul Tierney. I mean, he's not really appealing for that, Watkins, but just shows the danger, of course, that we know about, that he can break behind that Sheffield United back line. Headed away by Ben Brereton Diaz, who sends the ball straight out of play for an Aston Villa throw. Kamara will pick it up for Aston Villa, goalless, 8 minutes gone. But as you say, Chris, they really have started with a real tempo, Sheffield United. They're pressing Aston Villa when they're in possession, as Osula now does to Emi Martinez. It's difficult for Villa to play out. Certainly they're doing so under pressure. They've done so well. John McGinn heads it out to the left-hand side, where Ollie Watkins will pick it up. Went for the 1-2 as he brought down there by Bogle. Paul Tierney uninterested. The Villa away contingent not impressed. Ollie Watkins again just has that little glance at the referee, and Sheffield United have it in a central position. Now we'll work it forwards with Vinicius Souza.
Very composed, aren't they, Aston Villa, in possession? They all like the feel of the ball, and when they get it, it's very difficult to get it off them. Sheffield United are working very, very hard at a very good high tempo. As I say, it's very demanding though when you're playing at that pace.
And they're in possession. Here is Ahmed Hodgic. Works it out to the left-hand side, and Austin Trusty, lovely ball over the top. Ben Brereton Diaz is onto it. Flag stays down. Brereton Diaz went for goal and almost spilled by Emi Martinez. It squirmed under his body, rolled towards the goal line, but Martinez recovered and grabbed it before further damage could be done. Well,
I'm just looking at the replay. I think he's just onside, and we know Villa like to play this high lane. As I say, most clubs now have done the homework on them, and they're putting these balls in behind, and he's got to score. He's got to do better. Martinez goes under his body and he picks the second ball up, but he's got to do better. He's one-on-one basically. He's got to score there.
He had the option of Asula as well, square, but entitled to go for
I think
goal.
you're focused on the goal, you're bearing down on it, and I think he hasn't hit it with enough power, and he hasn't opened it up enough to make Martinez make a save.
Sheffield United pick up possession. As we say, they have switched to a back three. The change in formation, of course, a formation that they're so used to under Chris Wilder, particularly in his first spell here, but have switched from the four. And as they pass it around at the back, we will take you through their lineup. So Foderingham in goal, has been number one for virtually all of this season, displaced by their January signing Ivo Grbic, but as we mentioned, he is out with concussion, so Foderingham temporarily regaining his place as Aston Villa have the ball just inside their own half. The back three of Anel Ahmedhodzic, Mason Holgate making his debut, and Austin Trusty as Ollie Watkins picks up the ball inside the area. Ahmedhodzic is there, Watkins retains it out to the right hand side, and Leon Bailey now for Aston Villa. Tries the curler, not too far away, with Foderingham on the stretch behind for a Sheffield United goal kick. So ahead of them, Jayden Bogle, Andre Brooks, Vinicius Souza and Reece Norrington-Davis, with James McAtee supporting Ben Brereton-Diaz and Will Asula up front. For Aston Villa, it's Emi Martinez in goal, the back four of Ezri Concert, Diego Carlos, Clement Longley and Alex Moreno. Ahead of them, Boubacar Kamara and Douglas Luiz, with Leon Bailey, John McGinn and Yuri Tillemans supporting Ollie Watkins up top. Cleared away by Concert. At right back in field now to Boubacar Kamara, and Douglas Luiz saw the run of Ollie Watkins, and Watkins could be in here. Dinks it over Foderingham. Brilliantly kept off on the line, but slotted home on the follow-up for Aston Villa. John McGinn completely unmarked as Sheffield United initially did so well to get back and clear Watkins' effort off the line, but McGinn was there, fastest to react, and fires Aston Villa in front inside the opening 11 minutes. It's Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 1.
Well, this is what Villa's got, plenty of quality. You know, he looked through the team, it's a great ball through for Watkins, and he'll feel very unlucky, won't he? He did the right thing. The goalie comes bearing down, running out at him, he just lifts it over him, a lovely little dink, deflects off Foderingham. I mean, the captain does ever so well, happens to get it off the lane, but McGinn was the only one who reacted. Nobody in a Sheffield United shirt reacted apart from the captain, who gets it away when it hits the post actually, and McGinn is the one who reacts, and it's a simple tap-in.
Foderingham did so well initially to get an arm on that from Ollie Watkins, and as you say, Chris, just watching on the replay, it hits the post from Ollie Watkins. Ahmedhodzic was there, might have just been able to keep it out on the line. He did so well to get back.
Nobody reacted, Vicky.
Well, that's it. And I think it was Norrington-Davis who was with McGinn as they approached the penalty area. But it's one of these, he stops watching to see if that ball's going to go in, which for all the world it looks like it will from Ollie Watkins. But John McGinn doesn't stop, he doesn't wait, he continues his run, and he has the easiest of tasks to slot into the empty net. And Aston Villa lead by a goal to nil as Brereton-Diaz goes down off the ball. Villa coming forward, Bailey's ball into the penalty area is blocked away, and it will ricochet off Leon Bailey, and it will be a goal kick to Sheffield United, who trail by a goal to nil.
They look very dangerous, Villa, when they get over the halfway lane. You know, they've got so many options, so many talented footballers who are very good in possession of the football. You know, they've all got excellent technique, so when they get a little bit of time on the ball, they're making it, it's making the count. And you know, Sheffield United, for all their effort and their honesty, they just haven't got that little bit of class Villa have.
Well, the positive for Sheffield United fans listening, and they will know this all too well, is yes, they are shipping goals at an alarming rate, but under Chris Wilder, they have been scoring goals at quite a remarkable rate as well. So couple that with the fact that they were able to get a draw against Aston Villa back in December. Still a long way to play, of course, in this game as well. 14 minutes gone in this first half, but it's Aston Villa who lead by a goal to nil. Out to the right-hand side goes Ezri Konsa as Chris Wilder stands on the edge of his technical area. And Aston Villa playing in their changed strip of blue-grey, play it around at the back. Sheffield United in the red and white striped shirts, the black shorts and the black socks. All the way back to Emi Martinez, all in lime green. Go Aston Villa. Villa as it stands, moving into the top four of the Premier League as Ollie Watkins is penalised, and Sheffield United win a free kick. Jayden Bogle going down, just inside their own half. Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 1.
I'm waiting for that response from Sheffield United, and it's not happening. Is that the crowd's gone a little bit flat? They think, here we go again. It's the Villa fans who are making the noise to our left, but I'm waiting for that little bit of more tempo from Sheffield United. There's a little bit of quality on the ball as well. You can run around, Vicky, and you can press people in that, but when you get the ball, you've got to relax and enjoy it. That's what it's all about, what you do with the ball. Yeah, the work rate and the organisation's great, but when you get the ball, you've got to relax on it and look to create and look to play.
They're trying to do so now. Here is James McAtee for Sheffield United. Aston Villa leading by a goal to 0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Out to the left-hand side goes Sheffield United. Reece Norrington-Davis will play it back to Austin Trusty. Okay, it's so difficult, isn't it, as you say, Chris, to find that element of enjoyment when you are as stranded from safety as Sheffield United are, but they have to find a way to do it. 10 points from safety at the moment, bottom of the Premier League. As they come down the right-hand side, here is James McAtee, works it down the right once more, ball cut to the edge of the area, straight to Douglas Luiz, who will intercept for Aston Villa. Little 1-2 with Kamara, will bring it forward. Ball forward is a great one. Ollie Watkins into the penalty area once again. Watkins 2-0. Simply too easy for Ollie Watkins as Chris Wilder kicks a water bottle over on the touchline in frustration, because it's Sheffield United side inside the opening 16 minutes, a 2-0 down at home to Aston Villa. Ollie Watkins with the second, brilliant ball by Douglas Luiz. Watkins clinical, Villa lead 2-0.
That is a pass and a half. That fantastic. He plays it, gets it off the back four, he plays it back, he gets it again, and once he gets turned outside the right foot, bends it round the defence of Sheffield United on the run straight into the path of Watkins, who pulls away to the right hand side. It's a beautifully weighted pass. Watkins, one touch, second touch, bottom corner. What an excellent goal. What a pass by Luiz.
So similar, isn't it, to the move that they put together for the first goal. Douglas Luiz ball, Watkins in behind. First time he hits the post after good work from Ahmed Hodgic. Second time, no mistake, and John McGinn stopped the first opportunity on the rebound.
This is the difference between the good teams and the teams who are struggling. The movement there, the technique from Douglas Luiz at first, outside the right foot, and just the proper weight on it as well. It wasn't overhit where he had to chase it down. It was right in his path, one touch out of his feet, one shot across the goal into the bottom corner. Absolutely top class goal, that.
Absolutely gorgeous pass from Douglas Luiz, and the clinical finish as well, as Chris Waddle has described. It is a long way back for Sheffield United, even with just 17 minutes gone. It is a long task, a difficult one for them to stay in the Premier League this season. Chris Wilder knew that when he came in at the start of December. As they work the ball out to the left-hand side, flag is up against Reece Norrington-Davis, and Aston Villa have a free
He should
kick.
never be offside from there. Norrington-Davis there, he's looking right across the line of the field. He's looking at the Villa back four, and he's still offside.
Just going back to the point you were making earlier, Chris, as Aston Villa played all the way back to Emi Martinez. Chris Wilder, when he came in, talked about the mentality that this club and this city of Sheffield have when things are up against them. And he's a manager that can really draw that out. He's made comments about referees in the week. Of course, wasn't happy with Sandwich Gate and an assistant referee eating a sandwich when he was complaining to the officials about decisions in their last match. But, trying to put the pressure on, trying to build this siege mentality, made reference to the officiating again in his pre-match press conference. He's very good at doing that, and that can really work. But if things then go wrong at that point, is it also important to have that flip side of being able to relax in those moments and find some enjoyment, even though you know that every game is so crucial, they're so desperate for points? So Aston Villa pass it around still and work it back to Martinez to have that flip side of the mentality as well. I
don't think he can relax, because if they get a result, it's the next game, and he's probably thinking, I need the same again, I need the same the commitment. I don't think it's a fault with the commitment and the organisation. It just comes down to sometimes, Vicky, that these players are better than their players.
Here comes Sheffield United down the right-hand side. Bogle plays it to Osula. Cleared away by Diego Carlos, and a few olays from the Aston Villa fans as the ball goes out of play. Well worked by Moreno. And Diego Carlos's name is chanted by the travelling support. And Aston Villa have a throw deep in their own territory. I suppose it's that ability, isn't it, when you're going forward, Chris, like you were talking about earlier, just to switch off from the pressure in that moment, just to think, right, let's take this move as a former winger in isolation. What am I going to do here? Let's just be in the moment, go with the flow, and not think about everything that is swirling around Sheffield United in terms of the pressure. As Villa steam forward once again, could they find a third in these early stages? Yes, they can! It's brilliant! It's Leon Bailey! It's a curler! It's a pick of the bunch so far for Aston Villa. They are running away with it inside the opening 20 minutes, and some Sheffield United fans in front of us are already heading for the stairwells, and I don't think they're going for a half-time cuppa. Aston Villa lead by 3-0, and Sheffield United are being shredded.
By the way, this comes again from the back four. It's a clearance really, but give McGinn credit. He wins the header, knocks it down, and then the ball to Bailey. He's got a lot of work to do. We know he likes his left foot. We know he's all left-footed. He's dragging it. He's got look. Am I going to go on the outside of Nerton Davis? Am I going to go on the outside of him? We all know he loves to come inside on that left foot. He's composed. He just bends it. Side netting. Goalkeeper absolutely no chance. You've got to say the fullback's got to show him down the lane. His right foot is his weakest part of his game. He's let him come on side. Once he drops his shoulder, comes inside. He doesn't blast it. He places it into that top corner. Fantastic goal again by Aston Villa.
Stunning strike by Leon Bailey, and Chris, he barely celebrated. I mean, it was an absolutely brilliant goal.
I don't think he celebrated any goal. I think they ran to the corner flag a couple of times and just stood and shook hands. They've not got excited about any goal yet.
No, I'm not sure Unai Emery can quite believe this start. 21 minutes gone, and Aston Villa lead by 3-0. I'm positive that Chris Wilder can't quite believe it. He's gone to sit down. At least we presume that's where he is. He's disappeared, so we presume he's down in that dugout.
You've got to think as well, Vicky, Chris Wilder's team ain't got a lot of experience. You know, there's a lot of players who come from abroad, and he's got a lot of young players who come through the academy and wherever, and, you know, they've not played at this level. And it's very difficult to just say, I want you to do this, that. You know, some of these players we're watching for Aston Villa have been around for years and years and years. You know, it's not like they threw 6 young players in and you think, wow, they haven't done that. They've got a settled side, very experienced team.
Aston Villa in possession as Tielemans plays it back to Kamara, and that's it, isn't it? I mean, we mentioned before the game that, you know, Villa have only won 2 of their last 7, but we've seen the majority of this season they have been scintillating under Unai Emery, and they're starting to provide those combinations again as Bailey's almost in and Fotheringham comes flying out of his penalty area and heads that ball away. The Sheffield United goalkeeper, a good header as well, actually.
You know, we're going to go again.
Aston Villa coming forward once more. Kamara, dink ball into the area, over the head of Watkins.
You look at Villa and they're actually getting behind Sheffield United. And I think the game plan probably for Sheffield United was to get Villa drawn high, which they normally play very, very high, and we'll get in behind. Like Newcastle had massive joy through the week doing it. But if you look at it, it's Villa who's getting in behind Sheffield United all the time.
And to devastating effect. Midway through this first half, and Aston Villa lead by 3-0. John McGinn, Ollie Watkins and Leon Bailey, a couple of absolutely superb passes involved in those goals from Douglas Luiz, particularly for the Watkins goal. Absolutely delicious ball. Half-time in the Africa Cup of Nations quarter-final. We'll go there shortly because Sheffield United making a hash of clearing this. Ollie Watkins squeezes it forward to Tielemans. Now plays it forward, pull ball from Watkins, and it is with Fotheringham. So let's head for that half-time. Mali against the Ivory Coast in the quarter-final. Amos Marshall.
Mali have been on top, but it's goalless. Hull's Adama Traore missed a great chance to put them ahead, but his penalty was saved. Ivory Coast will play the whole of the second half with 10 men after Odilon Kusunu was sent off for 2 yellow cards. DR Congo await the winners of this quarter-final, but it's Mali 0, Ivory Coast 0.
Thanks very much, Hamish. Faint hope perhaps for Sheffield United. They've won a free kick over on the far side. Aston Villa leading by 3-0. And Chris Wilder emerges from his dugout, walks up to the edge of his technical area. He's going to shout some instructions to Fotheringham, who's in turn roaring at Rhys Norrington-Davis, who's just outside the centre circle.
He's the set-piece man, isn't he, for Villa?
Yes, as they look to work something defensively from this set piece. Aston Villa defending this free kick as Sheffield United swing it in, and it's flicked just wide. It's behind towards those travelling Aston Villa fans.
Holgate gets his head on it, but can I get it on the target? It's a good ball in by McAtee. It's a way of scoring goals, but you've got to say at this minute, Aston Villa are just so dominant. They're all, every time they go forward, you think they're going to score.
Well, they'd only scored 2 goals in their last 4 games, Aston Villa, which again is a mark of their most recent form rather than across the season, because indeed they've only failed to score in 4 games this season. And they've scored 3 already here at Bramall Lane, here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and they could be in again. Ezri Konsa getting forward from right back. Konsa trying to force it past Fotheringham and cleared away for an Aston Villa corner, and Bramall Lane is absolutely furious. The Sheffield United fans behind that goal, a number of them standing up, shouting at their defence and their goalkeeper, because Aston Villa are slicing them apart every time they come forward.
Down this right hand side, Bailey, Konsa, what a run, gets in the box, lovely little trick, little drag back, and he nearly gets Fotheringham, makes himself big, and they get it away for the corner.
25 minutes played, Aston Villa with this corner looking for their 4th goal of the evening. John McGinn scored the opener, and swing it into the far post, headed back towards goal by Diego Carlos, who is coming in there but can't control it, and it's behind for a Sheffield United goal kick as Chris Wilder stands on the edge of his technical area. He's called Ben Brereton Diaz over to him. Brereton Diaz, who, as we mentioned, has had such a good start after arriving on loan from Villarreal last month. Started 2 Premier League games, scored in both of them, including inside the opening 20 seconds in their last match against Crystal Palace. Now they need him to find a bit of magic down this left-hand side, and that's clearly what Chris Wilder is trying to elicit, as John McGinn has it on the halfway line. Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 3 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and we played only 26.5 minutes as Ezri Konsa comes forward over the halfway line, plays it in field to Leon Bailey, dinked forward now by Tielemans, and Bailey is in a race with Reece Norrington-Davies, wins that, then goes down on the edge of the area. I think ultimately Norrington-Davies is just a little bit stronger there. Then Yuri Tielemans goes in, fouls Norrington-Davies right in front of the assistant, and it's a free kick to Sheffield United.
It's got a little bit physical at the minute, yes, but Aston Villa have just got every area. Bailey there, I don't know what he's doing. He's got the ball at his feet. He ends up trying to back in to get a free kick. No need to. I've got to say, Tielemans arrived a little bit late, but there's nothing in it. I think the referee's got that right, just a quiet word. Maybe Sheffield United may be better matching up with Villa. Shape for shape, and then you know your jobs. You've got you against me. You know what you've got then. At the minute, it's a 5 at the back against the back 4 of Villa, and they're getting so much joy in the midfield, Villa, and especially down the flanks.
Unai Emery, incidentally, wasn't happy at all that decision went against Aston Villa. He was deep in discussion with the 4th official, Sam Barrett. So Aston Villa in possession, out to the right hand side they go, still inside their own half. Let's head for an update from the Six Nations. Wales against Scotland, David Jones.
Yeah, Wales on the scoreboard, Wales 5, Scotland 27. The visitors have been utterly dominant, cruising. Duan van der Merwe crossed for his 2nd try, a 3rd Scottish score, before James Botham bundled his way over from a Welsh driving maul. 48 minutes gone, Wales 5, Scotland 27.
And commentary continues on 5 Sports Extra. Lung-busting run by Alex Moreno down the left-hand side for Aston Villa. Yields a corner. They still lead by 3 goals to 0.
It's just so easy for Villa, let's be honest. Villa haven't... I've got to say the goals were brilliant. Obviously McGinn's was the tap-in, but the move up to that was good. But the other 2 goals have been outstanding. But they've not really had to work to get these goals. And they're so in control of the football match. It's so easy for them.
Douglas Luiz will leave this corner for Leon Bailey. He takes it very casually, but they're working something here. Luiz swings it in. Tielemans off the line, brilliantly cleared away by Sheffield United. But how did Tielemans have so much space there? It's another corner to Villa. It should be 4-0 Villa.
What a brilliantly worked set piece. And I'm looking at the set piece man for Aston Villa down there, and he's absolutely devastated he didn't score it. He'll have worked on that all week, and what a great move. The run to the near post. Ball fly to the far post. Tielemans still on his own. I've got to say, he didn't strike the ball very well.
Another corner headed away. Tielemans goes for goal again, in off the bar. And Aston Villa do have their 4th inside the opening half an hour. The The Villa fans away to our left are celebrating wildly, and more Sheffield United fans are heading for the exit, and we haven't even played 30 minutes. It's a smashing hit by Tielemans, his second goal of the season, first in the Premier League for Villa, and they are running riot against Sheffield United, 4-0.
Well, I've got to say, Aston Villa have been outstanding without really, and I'm not going to say horribly, but they've not really been at their best, and they have really controlled this football match since the kick-off. Bertrand Diaz had one chance early on, and that is it. Since then, you've got to say that Aston Villa have dominated the game, controlling the pace of the game, scored 4, could have scored a few more. I think it was Newcastle United coming and scored 8, didn't they?
Yes, you are
well,
right.
The way it's going, unless Chris Wilder changes something, or what can he change, it looks like it's going to go down that road.
A very grim half for Sheffield United, who are coming forward. Ball into the penalty area is collected easily by Emi Martinez, and you know there's so much to go at here, and none of it is positive for Sheffield United. But let's just go back to when it was 0-0 and Martinez almost allowed that ball to squirm underneath him, and Sheffield United could have been 1-0 up. That seems a very long time ago. Instead, they trail Aston Villa by 4-0. And what does Chris Wilder do from here? I mean, you look at their wider context.
I feel for him. I know Chris is a good lad, and I feel for him. He'll have worked his, hard this week, getting the shape and everything ready, the team ready for today. And you've got to say the players haven't turned up for him. And but let's give Villa credit. They're an experienced team. They've got some really top-class players. That's why they're in the top 4 of the Premier League. But Sheffield United normally play at a higher tempo, and they normally really get after you, and you don't get your time on the ball. You can accept that when they have the ball, they're not going to be as good as Aston Villa. But how easy is it for Aston Villa? There's no pressure on the ball.
Well, you highlighted it in the opening minutes, Chris, as Aston Villa had the ball midway through their own half. They did start with that tempo, didn't they? They did start with that pressing, but ever since John McGinn scored that first goal for Aston Villa, there's been no reaction.
No, nothing. And you're looking for people to pick people up, and how easy is it? Look, I mean, Villa are just playing at 50-60% really. Now they're in again. Could be offside.
Sweeps it forward. Flag stays down for now. Ollie Watkins goes for the chip over the bar. It goes. Flag remains down. It did look potentially off, didn't it? But just brimful of confidence.
Getting the benefit of a replay above here. And is he off? No, he's not. So that is a good opportunity for Ollie Watkins. He's trying to lob the goalkeeper from just inside the 18-yard box, but he'll be disappointed with that. He's executed it very poorly, and it's gone into the crowd behind the goal.
Well, he has found the back of the net once this evening. His 16th goal of the season, his 11th in the Premier League. He netted a consolation in the defeat against Newcastle in their last match for Aston Villa. I
just looked at it Ollie Watkins plays up front, and he's got 3 round him. So there's 3 players marking basically 1 player, isn't it? So, Villa have, 2 wide-ish. We know that. McGinn doesn't play wide, barely does. But they're just getting joy all over the park because there's no pressure on them. I think it'd be interesting if Chris was going to change to a back 4. Why does he just match Villa up, go 4-3-3 like Villa, and then you know your job, you're playing against somebody.
Former England winger Chris Waddle here with us on 5 Live and BBC Sounds this evening. 12 minutes to go until half-time. I was going to say a half that Sheffield United can't wait for it to end, but they've still got the whole second half to play, and 4-0 down. A miserable evening for the home fans at Bramall Lane so far. And it is turning into another goal-packed game. We've had a few of them in the Premier League this afternoon as Aston Villa have the ball outside their own penalty area. 4-4 it finished between Newcastle and Luton at St James's Park as Foderingham comes out of his penalty area and clears away for an Aston Villa throw.
I can't believe, honestly, how many times Aston Villa have got in behind the back 3 of Sheffield United. I mean, it's 2-3 passes, and then the next run you see somebody taking off on a run and they're in. And it's amazing how you've got a sweeper, you've got 2 players marking, 3 players making 1 player. So anybody running from midfield or from deep should be picked up quite comfortably. They're not.
Yeah, it is just far too easy for Aston Villa at the moment as Vinicius Souza wins the ball back at the second attempt. It was he who cleared that initial Tielemans effort off the line quite brilliantly. Tielemans then pulled out an even better shot from the subsequent corner, and that is why it is 4-0 to Aston Villa. Other scores in the Premier League today: 2-2 it finished between Everton and Tottenham. Everton with a last gasp equaliser. Brighton beat Crystal Palace by 4-1. Also finished 2-2 between Burnley and Fulham. So an action-packed match of the day to enjoy this evening on BBC One at 10:20.
Lot of goals tonight,
Absolutely. You might want to give it a miss if you're a Sheffield United fan or a Crystal Palace fan. Out to the right-hand side, Sheffield United. Vinicius Souza saw the danger as the ball was played back into central midfield and sent it all the way back to Foderingham. Do you think a shift to the back three is the most important thing that Chris Wilder can do to try and stop?
Well, he's
Villa
got to sort it out. I mean, as I say, Watkins, Tielemans is playing in that loose role really, and you know, they break very quick when they join Watkins and Bailey joins them. They join in very quick when the ball goes forward. He's offside, it's got to be. Ball
over the top looking for Brereton Diaz. Diego Carlos heads away, and indeed Paul Tierney blows his whistle without even waiting for the flag to go up on the far side.
I mean, Villa are very high. We know they take a risk. But I just look at the way they're set up, and Villa, Sheffield United just can't get any pressure on them higher up the park. You know, they're getting through in the gaps in the midfield. They've got an extra man in midfield. They just seem to have an extra man everywhere, and by the time they try and close them down, they're left one-on-one at the back.
Aston Villa in possession. Aston Villa supremely comfortable. 4-0 they lead Sheffield United here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. A reminder, 6:06 follows us this evening. Have your say on today's action with Robbie and Chris as Villa come down the right hand side once again. Reece Norrington-Davies gets there ahead of Leon Bailey. Little loose touch, almost concedes the corner, eventually sends it out for a throw.
It's hard, you know. You feel for the fans as well. You know, they want to get behind the side, and they're not seeing anything for them to get behind the side. We know that, and it's very frustrating.
Ezri Konsa throws the ball behind Leon Bailey, who made a completely different run, and some ironic cheers from a couple of Sheffield United fans around us, and they really have had virtually nothing to cheer in this first half. And as you say, Chris, it's so hard. What this game is gone. I mean, you know, yes, they've scored plenty of goals recently, 2 or more in each of their last 4 games, but barring what would be the most remarkable of miracles, half an hour in it had gone. It's 4-0, and really before that as well. How do you keep the focus? What do you focus on in that moment as a player?
Half time for Chris is going to be, look, we don't get beat second half, and you have all the cliches. We all know what managers say. You know, I want a bit more of this. We don't get beat. See if we can win the second half, get the crowd back. The one that you'll be saying is you don't collapse, and you don't want the crowd turning on you. You've got to keep the effort up. But you can see already, look, the 4 down, and you know the energy levels have dropped massively from Sheffield United already.
Aston Villa work it out to the left-hand side. Good line there at the back initially from Sheffield United in that back 5. It has been disassembled far too often in this first half, but that was a better structure. And Aston Villa, though it's as much about Villa as Sheffield United at the moment, because they're very happy to move it around, to try and pull Sheffield United out of position, as Leon Bailey, a couple of twists and turns down that right hand side and then pulls it back to Ezri Konsa. Closed down by Willa Sula, but Villa are just so comfortable in possession, comfortable in this game, leading as they are by 4-0.
Maybe we're bang on the line of the defence here. Look, there's 5 marking 1 basically. So Villa are very comfortable in possession, look, because there's nobody. You know, they're all on top of each other. Look, there's a lane of a 5, lane of a 3, right on top of the 5, and the 2, Brereton Diaz and Ursula up front, are just isolated.
Here come Aston Villa as they look to play through that front 2 initially of Sheffield United, but again very happy to knock it back into their own half, getting back to winning ways. Only 2 victories in their last 7 in all competitions, but doing so in style. And we still have 7 minutes to go until half-time as Norrington-Davies commits the foul. Leon Bailey is down. Aston Villa have a free kick a third of the way inside their own half. And you look at Villa as well in terms of what they've got coming up. I mean, it's Chelsea at home on Wednesday in the FA Cup 4th round replay. They'll host Leeds or Plymouth if they win. Then Manchester United at home on Sunday. I mean, job's done for Unai Emery, and you would understand if...
He's done a fabulous job out of Villa, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You've got to say his signings have worked, and he kicks every ball, doesn't he? I've been watching him, and he's really at every player You know, he kicks every ball, and if they're not doing what he wants, he's at them.
Here goes Yuri Tielemans, scorer of Villa's 4, tries to dink it through to Leon Bailey once again. Good clearance away by Austin Trusty. It's out for an Aston Villa throw. But it was interesting, just a couple of minutes ago, Brereton Diaz keeps looking over to Chris Wilder, and it's almost as if he's asking, you know, what do you want us to do here? Do we go forward and try and get a goal back, or do you just want us to stay in position and stop this getting any worse before we get to half-time?
I mean, it's as I say, it's very it's disappointing, isn't it? I feel for Chris. He's, you know, as you say, you work all week for this game, and basically after 30 minutes it's finished. But they just can't get near Villa, can they? Let's be honest. Villa, I wouldn't say Villa are playing electric pace. They're just playing two-touch football. Look, they take the time, they wait for the opportunity. The movement's very good off the ball, I've got to say, and they've caused them some of it. Sheffield United just cannot get any pressure on the ball.
Here comes Tielemans, right-hand side, plays it in field to Leon Bailey, who steps past Vinicius Souza, spreads the ball out to the left-hand side, chested down by Alex Moreno. John McGinn's in the centre. Here is John McGinn inside the penalty area, went for the 1-2. Moreno will pick it back up, but will commit the foul on Jaden Bogle in doing so, according to referee Paul Tierney. And it's played away by Mason Holgate. It's not been a comfortable debut at all for the on-loan Everton man, although it's collectively really that you can critique Sheffield United as a unit in terms of their defending as the ball goes out of play for an Aston Villa throw. But I mean, we've talked about how it's just not worked at all for Sheffield United, but the quality, particularly of those balls from Douglas Luiz for the first 2 goals, the assist for Watkins for the second, and what almost was an assist for Watkins for the first, Watkins hitting the post and then McGinn slotting in the follow-up. I mean, yes, their game plan, the way they're breaking through the Sheffield United back line has worked to perfection, but there's been some real quality in there as well.
Listen, Villa are a good side. They're not in the top 4, you know, they're going to the top 4 tonight, aren't they, with this, so they're not in the top 4 just by chance. They are a very good side. They've got some good players, they've got a good squad.
Watkins was on the move again. Little ricochet will carry it to Tielemans instead. Here was Boubacar Kamara getting forward. Again, groans from the Sheffield United fans as the red and white shirts back off. But they have got the foot in. Reece Norrington-Davis plays it against Tielemans, and the ball goes out of play for
Just
Sheffield
can't
United.
get near them. They can't get near them. I mean, you know, you may be better off just saying go man to man in midfield. You go mark Douglas Luiz, you go mark Tielemans, you go mark, and go and play against somebody and see if you can win your battle, because at the minute they're dropping off, they're getting a shape about them, Sheffield United, but they're not putting any pressure on the ball anyway, so it's very easy for Aston Villa.
Kamara wins the header and sends it back to Clement Longley. I don't think I've mentioned him for about 25 minutes, and that is how little Aston Villa's centre-half pairing of Clement Longley and Diego Carlos have had to do. To be honest, I think I mentioned Carlos more in the opposition penalty area when he's been up for corners, but it has been a grim evening for Sheffield United, and the bad news is that they've still got 3 minutes of the first half left to play. They trail by 4-0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Esri Konsa picks it back up and sends it in field to Douglas Luiz. Now back to Diego Carlos. Lovely ball to find John McGinn, who plays it quickly out to the right-hand side, and Leon Bailey pursued by Reece Norrington-Davis, and he's done him brilliantly there. Bailey into the penalty area, pulls it across, and Hodgic is there, clears away on the edge of the 6-yard box, back out to Tielemans, who has it for Aston Villa. Norrington-Davis gets the foot in as Konsa was arriving in support, cleared away by Norrington-Davis, but Sheffield United are so deep, and heads are down already in this first half as Ben Brereton Diaz closes down, but again, no pressure on the ball now. Every single player bar Emi Martinez inside the Sheffield United half as Douglas Luiz plays it forward. These players are desperate for half-time, Chris.
Oh, desperate. Listen, look at how deep they are. Every player in a red and white shirt.
They did the centre circle. Diego Carlos has it. Now Esri Konsa out to the right-hand side, and Leon Bailey as Villa pass it around back to the Six Nations. Wales, Scotland, David Jones.
And Wales very much back in this game. Aaron Wainwright's just crossed for a third Welsh try. James Botham and Rio Dyer also scored after the break. Scotland reduced to 14 men. Siona Tuipulotu yellow carded with 19 minutes remaining. Wales 19, Scotland 27.
Thanks, David. Commentary continues on 5 Sports Extra. Jaden Bogle has gone into the book for Sheffield United for a little swipe at Alex Moreno. Free kick given and into the book as well. And
yeah,
you think that's the right decision,
coming in, and listen, they just can't get near them. Let's be perfectly honest. It's the difference is unbelievable. how they just can't get near them. I mean, I don't know the possession stats, we'll probably find out, but it must be unbelievable.
So Aston Villa in possession, just outside the centre circle. Play it out to this right-hand side, leading by 4 goals to 0. Little back heel by Leon Bailey, comes off Norrington Davis, and ball goes out of play for a Sheffield United throw right in front of manager Chris Wilder. It is going to be another defeat under his tenure since returning. 1 win in the Premier League, 2 draws, one of which was against Aston Villa, and it will be, barring a remarkable comeback in the second half, a 6th defeat. Difficult games within that, Liverpool and Manchester City, but this has been an incredibly poor performance, even by a side. Bottom of the Premier League boos as 4 minutes has shown at the end of this first half. 4 minutes of added time, 4 goals for Aston Villa, and that pretty much sums it up.
Well, I've just looked at possession, 65%. I thought it was a lot more than that, I'll be honest. You know, especially the last 15-20 minutes. I mean, Villa's just had the ball. Here they go again, over the top.
And Ollie Watkins is pursuing this. Ball spins out to the left-hand side. He's pursued by Mason Holgate. Won't keep that in there. It looked like Watkins. Yes, referee Paul Tierney has spotted that. And it will be a throw to Sheffield United. But his movement, they just can't deal with it, Sheffield United.
Yeah, and you've got players who can provide the pass if he makes the run. We've seen that already. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy when there's no pressure on the ball. You can make your run, and, you know, the centre-halves will be moaning that they want pressure on the ball. Unfortunately, they're not getting any, so they're better off dropping off 5 yards and keeping him in front of you rather than getting him behind.
Ball is flicked on by McAtee, but nobody there for Sheffield United, of course. The man who would be there if he was fit would be Ollie McBurney, but top scorer is out. He has a muscle injury, failed a late fitness test, and they have really been decimated at times by injuries this season, Sheffield United, particularly defensively, but having McBurney missing, of course, a blow for this one. Quite simply, Aston Villa have just been too good, and Sheffield United have been poor, sliced apart. 4 goals for Aston Villa, 4 different goal scorers as well, and they're coming down the right-hand side. So we played 90 seconds of the minimum 4 minutes added on at the end of this first half on 5 Live and BBC Sounds as Boubacar Kamara goes down, challenged by Andre Brooks. And Aston Villa have another free kick, and it just easy.
Frustrated and everything. Yeah, I mean, you can see everything. You don't want red cards, and you don't want to build up a load of yelling either. You've got to keep your discipline, but you've got to change the system. You know, it's a walk in the park for Villa at the minute. Let's be honest. There's no pressure on the ball. Look, anywhere. I mean, we're watching it. I mean, it's so easy for Villa. They've always got 1, if not 2, if not 3 men available.
Slightly better there from Sheffield United. Willa Sulet charging that clearance down, but it ricochets back to Aston Villa anyway, and Longley has it and will square it to Diego Carlos. Chris Wilder and Unai Emery both down there pointing and gesturing. Emery, even though his side are 4-0 up, still looking for those little improvements, those marginal gains, but he'll be absolutely delighted after, as we say, a bit of a shaky run of form, Aston Villa, with their first half performance today. 4-0 they lead with 1 minute of added time to play. Here is Yuri Tillemans, works it out back to that central position, and Ezri Konsa. But again, the closing down from Sheffield United has reverted to its slower speed. That they are not at it today, and that's an understatement. And Chris Wilder, look, it's 4-0. There's nothing you can do about the game. The game is gone. But in terms of performance, as much as for going into the next game for anything else, as Aston Villa see the advantage played, Tillemans can't find Watkins though, and Foddering's out to collect.
Tillemans has been the problem. Nobody's picked him up. He's got that sort of free roll behind Ollie Watkins, and he's just going into midfield. He's walking around into little areas, finding holes, finding space. Nobody's picked him up. You'd be better off thinking, when you lose the ball, go and mark him. He's the man who's causing all the problems.
Long ball forward from Foderingham, cleared away by Konsa. Offside flag is up, and there were fans up on their seats. They're ready to go, It's the half-time whistle, and it is not quite yet. Even our producer's ready to go. I've just had a 30 seconds in my ears, but no, we still play on. We're nearly at half-time. Don't worry, Sheffield United fans. Don't worry, producer Claire, because we've got so much to get to in half-time here on 5 Live. There is the half-time whistle, and the boos speak for themselves. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, one team's turned up, Aston Villa. Sheffield United haven't. Yes, Chris Whale's got a massive team talk now, and it's about not conceding any more goals and trying to win the second half. Simple as that. A bit of pride back, because Aston Villa, it's been so easy and they've been brilliant, I've got to say. Sheffield United got to change the system, got to stop Tielemans, got to stop a couple of other players, but they've got to up the tempo, and that's the only way they're going to save. I'm not saying they're going to get back in the game, but to have a little bit of credibility, they've got to up the tempo and change the system.
McGinn, Watkins, Bailey and Tielemans all on the score sheet inside the opening half an hour. Half-time at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 4.
Second half on the way. They could be in for a barnstorming finish at the Principality Stadium. What a comeback this is by Wales. David Jones.
Yeah, absolutely bouncing here at the Principality Stadium. 3 second-half tries for Wales have given themselves a glimmer of hope. 67 minutes played. Wales 19, Scotland 27. Wales on the Scottish try line, though, with an attacking line now pressing for a fourth. And an unlikely comeback. And Wales do get the score. Fourth try for Wales on his debutant. Alex Mann with a try. Wales very much back in this game. Wales 24, Scotland 27.
What's left on that sin bin, David? I'm trying to see on the screen the caption, so small. 2 minutes?
2 minutes remaining on Sione Tuipulotu's sin binning. So Wales have a man advantage for the next 2 minutes. What a finish at the Principality Stadium.
Sports Extra to listen to it. BBC One if you want to watch it. Quarter-final time at the Africa Cup of Nations. Hamish Marshall watching Mali against the hosts.
Coming up to an hour played and it's still 0-0. Second half is like the first. Mali on top but not creating enough clear-cut chances. The best chance still was Adama Traore's first half penalty, which was saved. Ivory Coast keeper Yahya Fofana also kept out a 25-yard shot from Amadou Hadera. Ivory Coast are the great survivors of this AFCON, and they're still in it despite being down to 10 men after Odilon Kusanu was sent off for 2 yellow cards. Mali 0, Ivory Coast 0.
At half-time in the Premier League then, Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 4. From earlier on today, Everton 2, Tottenham 2, Brighton 4, Palace 1, Burnley 2, Fulham 2, and Newcastle 4, Luton 4. 25 goals so far today, which is the most on a single day of Premier League football, with a maximum of 5 games being played. And there's still 45 minutes to go at Bramall Lane. Match of the day, 10:20 tonight on BBC One. Wales converted the try with 11 minutes left. Wales 26, Scotland 27. We'll be back there after the latest BBC News with you.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The Vice President of Sinn Féin, Michelle O'Neill, has been sworn in as Northern Ireland's First Minister, the first time an Irish nationalist has held the role. The DUP's Emma Little-Pengelly is the Deputy First Minister, a position considered equal at Stormont. Power sharing has resumed after 2 years. It was suspended because the DUP disagreed with the post-Brexit trading arrangements. There'll be much more on this tonight with Stephen Nolan from 9 on 5 Live. Elsewhere, more than 30 people, including civilians, have died in US airstrikes on sites linked to Iran in Syria and Iraq. Tehran condemned the US action, describing it as a strategic mistake. The strikes were launched after 3 American soldiers were killed by Iranian-backed militants in Jordan. And thousands of people have marched through central London calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. It's the 8th march of its kind since the war in the territory began. Police say that at its height, around 20,000 people took part.
Throughout this month, Radio 2 is doing something very special.
Radio 2's Piano Room Month.
Some of our favourite artists are joining us at the Maida Vale Studios.
I'm Guy Garvey from Elbow.
I'm PP Arnold.
I'm Peter from the Libertines.
Giving us unique live performances alongside the BBC Concert Orchestra.
This is Radio 2's Piano Room Month.
Don't look back into the sun. Do it to yourself.
Sonically, acoustically, it was pretty perfect.
Radio 2's Piano Room Month continues throughout February.
Watch on iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
On 5 Live, listen on BBC Sounds.
Been quite a start to the opening weekend in the Six Nations. Ireland beating the French in Marseille last night. Earlier on today, Italy 24, England 27. And now we are set for a heck of a finish at the Principality Stadium. So we're going to join our Sports Extra commentary team here. Wales 26, Scotland 27. Here, I would imagine, a rather nervous Andy Nicol alongside Philippa Tuttiett and James Burridge.
It has been, chappers, one of the most extraordinary comebacks from Wales in this second half, from 27-0 down to 27-26. Scotland very accomplished in the first 40 minutes. They did the basics well, and Wales looked nervous, looked shell-shocked. They looked as if this young team couldn't handle the occasion. Well, whatever Warren Gatland and his coaches said at half-time, my goodness, it has done the trick. Philippa Tuttiett.
Yeah, echoing that, I mean, chappers, honestly, I was speechless in the first half for all the wrong reasons, and I'm speechless in the second half for all the right reasons. It's been a complete contrast of form for Wales, but you have to say, Scotland, if they lose this game after being so in control, so comfortable, then this is going to go down in one of the worst defeats in history, Andy.
No, Philippa, I've never enjoyed 45 minutes in Cardiff more, and I don't think I've hated 20 minutes in Cardiff anymore. It's been remarkable.
And listen to that crowd. They were absolutely gone at half-time. They couldn't have gone to the bar quicker. And now the Principality, 75,000 in here, under the roof. And the Six Nations bringing its very best for us here.
And James, when things are going against you and the momentum is all with Wales at the moment, Luke Crosby's gone off injured, the bench has already been used, so Cam Redcalf's come on at 12 at inside centre, and Siona Tuipulotu has gone to the blindside flanker. For the last 8 minutes of this game, we've got a centre playing flanker.
And Ben O'Keefe, our referee tonight, calling the packs together. Less than 9 minutes on the clock. Wales with the bonus point with 4 tries. They'll get a bonus point. They've got 4. Scotland have 3 tries. 2 in the first, 1 in the second. Duhan van der Merwe and Finn Russell combined beautifully at the start of the second half. And we thought that was it. We thought the game was done. Wales have had other ideas. Big changes at 9 and 10, Philippa, for Wales. They've really created a spark in Thomas Williams and Johan Lloyd.
Yeah, that's really been quite pivotal for them, but also with the change of the game plan as well, keeping that ball in hand, which is much more Thomas Williams' game as well.
And changes with Scotland. George Horne has come on at scrum half for Scotland as they take possession up to the 10-metre line. The pick up and drive from Scotland, and Wales spreading out in defence. To the left they go now, Scotland, and Hepburn, Alec Hepburn, capped 7 times by England, now playing for Scotland. And they are finding holes here, Scotland, as Horne spins it out again to Fagerson. Are they looking for the penalty here, Scotland? Ben O'Keefe says no. The pick up and drive, crunching tackle on Hepburn again. Discipline is going to be absolutely critical. Russell scanning the defence. Rowe. And Scotland now approaching Wales's 22. They're attacking right to left in this second half. The phase play continues from Scotland. Fagerson takes it. Wales trying to get over the ball. Horne to the right-hand side. The crowd trying to come into this contest with cries of Wales, Wales, but the defence is tight from Wales as they pass it once again. Dempsey, who's just come on, passes it to the left-hand side. Russell, Welsh defence coming up quickly. It's all about the timing of the pass as Tuipulotu, who was the player sin-binned, now takes possession. They're between the 10-metre line and 22, Scotland. They lead by a point. Once again, they're trying to burst through down to the right-hand side. This team which are used to playing with width. And the tackle, that's Russell put the grubber kick through, and Wales trying to get over the ball, and they get the penalty. Terrific, tenacious defence by Warren Gatland's side. As a big picture of Finn Russell blowing his cheeks on the big screen. Andy Nicol.
Well, it's the first attack Scotland have had in the last 20 minutes of this second half, when they've conceded 26 points after going 27-0 up. And it was almost like watching Wales in the first half. They'd just gone a bit more one-dimensional. They looked tired. They've had to defend for long parts of the second half, and they just ran out of ideas at the end there. A grubber kick is a good one if it comes off. It didn't. And then Rafael, who has just been on that ball all day long, got another turnover.
The kick downfield from the penalty takes play between Scotland's 22 and the 10-metre line. Just over 5 minutes left here in Cardiff. Scotland 27 nil up, and now 27-26. The line out from D, it doesn't look accurate. Scotland have taken it. The first mistake in the Welsh line out in this second half, as Russell smacks the ball downfield. Cam Winnett takes it, the fullback. He's going to try and dummy and go on himself, gives it to Adams. It was slightly risky running it inside their own half. Taken by Kyle Rowe, passes it back inside to Russell. Russell kicks down the centre of the pitch. Winnett chasing it. What have Wales got left in the tank? They have given absolutely everything in this second half. Russell again looking to exploit the space. Cam Winnett chasing back again. This debutant, the fullback from Cardiff, kicks on downfield. He finds a good touch. Beyond halfway, Scotland will have the line out. Less than 5 to go. I
think they'll be happy with that kick exchange there. Finn Russell's just putting it straight down the middle. They've now got a line out. Get the line out. They would just drive it, take up some of the clock. It's a 4-minute game now. Forget 27-0, forget bonus point. It's close out the victory.
2 years ago, here in this stadium, Dan Biggar, a drop goal from Dan Biggar did the difference. Wales have got it. The line out wasn't accurate, but Wales have possession as Rafael has taken it. Was that a high tackle on Rafael? The referee says no, the crowd don't agree, but it's play on with Wales. Centre of the pitch. Who can think coolly, clinically, under the greatest of pressure, in front of 75,000 here in the Principality. 27-26. Scotland lead here on 5 Live, the third game of the opening weekend of the Six Nations. Williams for Wales. It's still Wales on halfway. They're going to probably have to hold possession. They don't want to be kicking this away with the clock so close to the end. Big tackle coming in from Hepburn, who's really made a difference since he's come on for Scotland. They're trying to find space, but Scotland are shutting them down. Wales are inside their own half now, still trailing by a point. The pop-up pass and a forward pass from Wales, and that is a massive net gain for Scotland.
Sure, I'm almost speechless. I've seen a lot in this game. In my life, this is unbelievable, this game. This reminds me of the 38-30 draw at Twickenham when Scotland were 31-0 down, and it's just remarkable there. But that was a chance for Wales. It really was, because the overflow from Scotland at their line out, and it gave them a chance. So now it's about managing the game. 2.5 minutes for Scotland to hold on to the 1-point lead. And you know what? I said before the game I'd take a 1-point win. Right this moment, I'd absolutely take it.
The scrum to Scotland inside Wales's half, 15 metres from the far side touchline. Yeah, it's about delivering under the biggest of pressure now, Philippa. And the scrum, Wales have been dominant. They've managed to find a bit of purpose as the referee blows his whistle. Let's hear that conversation.
Re-engage front rows. Understand? Understand.
One of the big things referees are looking at is the engagement, the stability at scrum time. In the first half, Wales were really struggling at scrum and at the line out. They've managed to steal important ball back, to get that parity back. But Scotland with the scrum into the last 2 minutes then. Here in Cardiff, Scotland 27, Wales 26, and of course Scotland, we all remember, haven't won here for 22 years. Can they crack it now? Can they negotiate?
Keep your height, feet under you.
Andy Nicol, the last 90 seconds.
Well, I never liked scrums, but I tell you what, if the next 90 seconds was just done here in the scrum, I'd be very happy with the situation. He stopped the clock, Ben O'Keefe. A lot of times they let them run in, I have to say. So, you know, this scrum, forming a scrum, and there it is, the time's on now. So we're into the last 90 seconds.
The feed from George Horne. Scotland in possession. They feed it inside Wales's half. It's a good scrum from Scotland. They've got a good drive here, and the referee has got the advantage out. Ben O'Keefe and Wales with the advantage, but Russell looking for more, bringing through. Scotland into the 22 and Kyle Steyn, 6 metres out. Scotland finally have found their mojo as they come to within 4 metres of Wales's line. As we enter the last minute here in Cardiff, it's been an astonishing comeback from Wales, but Scotland determined to put them to bed, to put history to bed, and to get over the line. Frenetic last gasp defence from Wales. 2-3 Scottish forwards waiting to the right hand side. The pick up and drive. Scotland once again looking for their 4th score, looking for a bonus point win. Into the last 30 seconds, the pick up and drive again, the referee in the perfect position. Alec Hepburn waiting, passes away. Wales desperately hanging on. Scotland still going to the right of the post this time. The pick up once again. To the right-hand side, Scotland attacking right to left. Hepburn again, desperately trying to dot the ball down, but Wales keep them at bay. They go again, Scotland. We're into dead time. Scotland leading by a point, looking to finish this game. They could just kick it off, but they want more, Scotland. They could kick the ball off and the game would be won. But they're still going at Wales's line. 27-26. The ball is there for Scotland. They pick up round the left-hand side. Van der Merwe's in there. He hasn't grounded it, has he? And Ben O'Keefe blows his whistle. Let's hear. He's going to go away
Brendan, coming to you.
Calmly go to Brendan Pickrell, the TMO.
Your decision is no try.
Okay, it's no try.
But either way, Andy,
I think we've won the game.
So we believe that it is held up, and that is the first instance in his short.
Unless there's foul play and Wales run the length.
Screen, please, we'll have a look.
I think Scotland have managed somehow to win this game.
But we'll check the grounding.
Either try or done.
So let's have a look.
Is that?
It's either try or done.
Yeah.
Oh, that was breathless. You know, I thought, you know, if everything's happened, we're seeing the replay now. He's moving forward.
Ball is going on the foot there, Ben.
Just looking at the replay on the big screen.
Yeah. Inches away from a bonus point win.
Another angle.
Brendan Pickrell still in conversation with Ben O'Keefe. Van der Merwe, who scored.
He's allowed to do that
at the start of the second half.
Nothing more clear there, Ben.
Scotland fans on their feet saying try. As we still look at the replay on the big screen.
I think
Ben, that's all the angles we've got. The ball is held up.
We agree with that decision, so we'll stuck to the no try. And
yeah,
it's fine.
I agree with that.
Okay, so back on me. The ball is grounded on top of the foot, so no try, and that's game.
Ben O'Keefe blows the whistle. What an astonishing second half of rugby. Absolutely extraordinary. Wales 27-0 down on the scoreboard. They were a shower in that first 40 minutes. They had no confidence, no belief, couldn't string passes together. Scotland very accomplished. And then Andy, Wales came roaring back into it. I don't know how.
I don't know. Fair play to Wales. They're an injection of energy and intensity in the second half. Scotland dropped off a bit. But let's just pause. Scotland have won the game. They've won for the first time in Cardiff since 2002, in 22 years. It was 27-0 up. I was supremely confident. 27-26, not so much. But let's just pause. Scotland have won the game away from home. Job done. I would have taken a 1-point win. And I think Wales take a huge amount from this game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to take a loss but with a performance like that in the second half, that's something these Welsh fans and this Welsh team can build on. Overall, as much as obviously I would have loved for Wales to have won that game, I do think that's a fairer reflection. You know, Scotland were maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 in the second half. They dropped to a 5 out of 10 in the second, but from Wales, 2 out of 10 in the first half, almost 10 out of 10 in the second.
Absolutely extraordinary the way this game has unfolded. Chappers, one of the great second halves I think we can happily say that we've witnessed since the Six Nations started back 24 years ago now. Utterly mind-boggling the way sport can turn on its head. This was a young, callow Welsh team who have given their nation so much to cheer.
We're on 5 Live as Sports Extra at the moment. On 5 Live shortly we'll return to Bramall Lane, where Villa have already got a 5th at the start of the second half. Alex Moreno with that. So Sheffield United 0, Villa 5. At the Africa Cup of Nations, Mali have scored with 20 minutes to go against the host Ivory Coast, and Ivory Coast are down to 10 in that game. We'll get details of that goal shortly as well. Reaction to all of the opening week's Six Nations on the Rugby Union Daily Pod to come, which you'll be able to get later on. I thought the final whistle, Andy, maybe the most telling thing was you going, let's just take a pause. Scotland have won. Yeah. Because honestly, just looking at body language and demeanour on the pitch and the crowd noise and so on and so forth, you wouldn't necessarily know that at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. I'm drained. I'm knackered. I feel like I've played the game. That was unbelievable. And, great. Sport is magic. Six Nations is magic. Scotland were absolutely cruising. 27-0 up and complete control because Wales had shown nothing. And then it was a flicker switch, but it was a flicker switch in every single player in a red shirt. And that then flicked the switch in the crowd. And we always said that the Cardiff factor can be a factor, and it was. And I genuinely thought with 5 minutes to go, probably 8 minutes to go, Wales were going to win it because the momentum was all with them. Fair play to Scotland, they stopped that momentum, and at the end they actually could have got the bonus point try, which would have been the icing on the cake. But Chappers, I'll say it again, we've won here. Well, that was so important.
And that needs, I'm sure it will be once they've all had a shower and go for dinner tonight. But you sort of feel that message might need to be reinforced in the camp this week.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they look shell-shocked at the moment.
And they will do. And the analysis of what caused that second half capitulation, and that's what it was. Now Wales contributed to that massively, of course they did, but so did Scotland, and they lost all sort of shape in attack and defence. The leadership seemed to go. Now I know what that feels like when the opposition have got momentum. My goodness, it's tough, but at some point you just try and wrestle it back. Little wins here and there, and for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, Scotland were powerless to stop what Wales were doing. So yeah, we're looking at the body language, and it looks dejected. At 27-0 up, I don't think anyone in the stadium would have been expecting this sort of reaction at the end of the game.
Whereas as far as Wales and Warren Gatland are concerned, then Philippa, well, that's an interesting platform and interesting to work with.
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely something to work with. And I also think that, it'd be really interesting to hear what Warren Gatland says, because there was a definite change in game plan as well for the second half. So maybe the management are going to come and, put their hands up and go, look, we thought a kicking game would be on. It didn't suit us. We talked about it at half-time. Players bought into it, and that was part of the catalyst of change for this second half, because what we did get to see in the second half was lots of young individuals putting up their hand. A gentleman called Alex Mann, which many people might not know about, he's been working really hard for Cardiff in his region, and he stood up in the second half. Cam Winnett, he was tested, he was tried with the high balls at full back, and he proves he's the real deal. So yeah, plenty to work on.
So is that what they do next week then? Is that what they do for going forward and go, because they're at Twickenham next weekend, aren't they? Is it simply say, right, I know every game has to have a different game plan, but if the young players have put their hands up, give them their head?
Yeah, absolutely. Players have performed, then they deserve the jersey. I mean, you know, there's going to be a lot of debriefing now. Training will be very intense next week. But I think you have got a lot of players out there that are ball handlers. You know, you've got Johan Lloyd in there. Hopefully Sam Costello's all right. He can come back into the mix. You know, Owen Watkin is a centre, but he used to play fly half. So he's also a ball player. So why are we kicking the ball away when we've got so many creative backs? Keep the ball in hand. So, yeah, hopefully a bit of a change of tack going forward into England. But yeah, from the England result, they might not be going into that game full of confidence either. Two teams with very much points to prove, I think, next week.
Small drink to calm the nerves now, Andy?
Oh, good to see. Yeah, absolutely. Jeez. I've not recovered yet, chappers.
Thank you, James. Andy, Philippa. As I say, all the reaction on the Rugby Union Daily. Sheffield United 0, Villa 5. Back at Bramall Lane after details of that Marley goal from Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, it's Marley 1, Ivory Coast 0. Finally, they've got the goal they deserve. Substitute Nene Dorgeles with a super strike, 25 yards, right into the top corner. 10-man Ivory Coast have kept them at a distance throughout the second half, but now they've a real mountain to climb. We've got 7.5 minutes to play. Mali on course for the semi-finals. They lead Ivory Coast 1-0.
6:06 on the way after the second half at Bramall Lane. Fair to say Sheffield United don't look like doing a Welsh recovery here, Vicky Sparks.
I think that's fair enough, Mark. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, to Bramall Lane, where, as Mark told you just a few moments ago, Aston Villa now lead by 5-0. They scored inside the opening 2 minutes of the second half. Alex Moreno, again, completely unmarked inside the penalty area. More shocking Sheffield United defending. Made it 5-0, and they've got more defending to do here. Free kick to Aston Villa, left-hand side. Tielemans swings it in, and it's met at the far post and steered just wide. Might have been a Sheffield United touch on it as Conser came in. It was. It's been given as a corner by referee Paul Tierney. But Chris Waddle, it's really been the same old story. Second half as it was first.
And he's made substitutions, Chris Wilder. He's actually gone to a back four. He's brought a centre half, I think, at left back, and he's brought Robinson on and Osborne on, and he's tried to back the midfield and obviously have a back four. But it's very much the same as the first half, and it's how much Villa want to score more goals. There's goals there for them if they want them. At the minute they've slowed the game right down, and somebody's actually injured in the box. Yeah,
Edwin Conser is still down, so the Villa medical staff are on. They will have a corner which will be taken over on the far side, but we can just run you through those changes. So yes, as Chris says, Chris Wilder has made, in the end, 3 of them now. Hang on, we'll do that in a minute, because Chris Wilder's favourite thing, referees and VAR, they are checking for a possible penalty, but they've already said, up on the screen here, no foul. That was for the challenge on Conser, who is still down. No foul, though, by Aston Trustin. It will just be the Aston Villa corner, and just 5 goals by which they lead Sheffield United 11 minutes in. So, yes, at half-time, at the start of the second half, Gustavo Harmer came on for Sheffield United and Will Asula off. Aston Villa also made a change as well. Jacob Ramsey on for Douglas Luiz. Luiz given a rest after some absolutely sublime passes helped Aston Villa carve open Sheffield United in that first half. And then 2 further changes pretty much immediately after the Moreno goal early on in the second half from Sheffield United. Norrington Davis and Brooks going off, and Ben Osborne and Jack Robinson coming on. So Conser is still receiving treatment. Aston Villa will, when he is helped to his feet, as he is being so now, will be about to take this corner with John McGeehan over on that far side. And another negative, not that we want to pile it on for Sheffield United fans who might be listening to us, kudos to you if you are, because it has been a horror show from your side. But Aston Villa now attacking towards their away fans, who are making a right racket behind that goal away to our left.
Yeah, I mean, it's been Villa pulling up there. You've got to think a month ago or just over, they drew 1-1, these two, didn't they? I think at Villa Park, and Sheffield United had high hopes, I would think, coming out of the day, thinking if we can put a similar performance, frustration, hit them on the break, we'll get a result. But you just got to say Villa have been far too good for them.
And Sheffield United, in terms of the mark inside the penalty area, I mean, shocking is not too strong at times. And then it's 5-0, it could be more. Tielemans with an effort cleared off the line before scoring his goal. That was Aston Villa's 4th in the first half, and they've gone close on other occasions as well, as John McGinn swings his corner in, powerfully headed away by Sheffield United inside their own penalty area, and out for a throw to Aston Villa, who are preparing a double change of their own. Musa Diaby and Matty Cash preparing to come on.
Yeah, more problems. Matty Cash loves the bomb forward, and he does on the right hand side. Again, they've got Diaby's got a lot of ability, a bit like Bailey, and I think that's who he'll come on for. And he's another one who can pick the ball up and cut inside and bend it in the top corners, which we've seen him do before.
So Ezri Konsa is not going to be risked. He is walking around the edge of the pitch and is replaced by Matty Cash. And as Chris Waddle says, it is Leon Bailey who will make way for Musa Diaby. You know, Emery was asked about Diaby in his press conference ahead of this game and admitted that his performances have been inconsistent since arriving for that club record fee from Bayer Leverkusen last summer, but very much praised his attitude and highlighted again, as we know, that it takes a while to adapt to the Premier League, but 5 goals for the season for Diaby, and this is the perfect opportunity to come on when the side are playing so well.
No pressure, go and enjoy yourself, get a bit of confidence here. So I mean, they keep chopping changing these two players, don't they? They don't know who's consistent or not, and it takes them a while to settle. People forget that. They just think you should come into from a different country and play unbelievable football. Sometimes it takes up to a season.
Aston Villa in possession, leading by 5-0. 15 minutes gone in the second half. What do you make of Bailey's performance in the first half?
I thought he was dangerous. I felt for the fullback. I've got to say, he didn't have the best of games. He was quite. I thought he showed him a lot of respect, but he had the beating of him every time he got the ball, didn't he? Let's be honest, down this right hand side.
Yeah, difficult afternoon / evening for Norrington Davis, and difficult evening for Sheffield United all round, as Aston Villa have the ball in possession. Now, interesting, they seem to have slotted back into this back 5 now, Chris. It's one of those things that I know it's something you feel, changing to a 4, that they have played, this season. And yes, we know they played a 5 in recent years, and Wilder's very familiar with that formation, but you've conceded 4 goals in the first half, and you were saying, changing to the 4
when you look at it
help.
now, it's gone to a 5 again, but I mean, Bogle for me should be playing right side midfield. He shouldn't, he's got Holgate alongside him who could easily play it right back. They're actually playing, as you say, with a big back 5 there, in a lane, marking basically, one player.
So Aston Villa in possession. So at the moment, out of possession, you've got Austin Trusty at left wing back, then Robinson, Ahmedhodzic and Holgate making his debut, and then Bogle playing at right wing back. In midfield, it's Sousa, Osborne and Harmer, with Burton Diaz being supported up top by McAtee.
I've watched Sousa in this game. He doesn't do enough, and he doesn't mark anybody. He marks space, and I don't get. You've got to go mark and engage players. If you watch him, he's always in a space. Look, he's in a space now. We're watching. He jogs around on lanes, but he's not picking anybody up. So he's never ever going to win a tackle. He's never ever going to win the ball back.
Aston Villa in possession, leading by 5-0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, just inside the Sheffield United half. They have Emi Martinez in goal, Fotheringham in goal, incidentally, who we didn't mention for Sheffield United. But Villa with Martinez in goal, the back 4 now of Cash, Carlos, Longley and Moreno. Ahead of them, Kamara and McGinn, with Diaby, Ramsey and Tielemans supporting Watkins up top, as ball is played back by Harmer for Sheffield United. While you were away with us at the rugby, Jaden Bogle went close for Sheffield United, and Burton Diaz might try and do so now down to the byline, missed control right at the end and plays the ball behind for an Aston Villa goal in the Africa Cup of Nations quarter-final between Mali and the Ivory Coast. Hamish Marshall.
Time is ticking away, and we've got an equaliser. It's Mali 1, Ivory Coast 1, and it's Brighton's Simon Adingra who's got the goal from close range. 10 men Ivory Coast are somehow still in this competition. Looks like extra time here. Mali 1, Ivory Coast 1.
Thanks very much, Hamish. Aston Villa in possession, midway through their own half, leading by 5-0 as Kamara plays the ball over the top, too much on it and easy for Fotheringham. Yes, ironic cheers there were There have been so few things to cheer for Sheffield United fans, ironically or otherwise, when that Bogle shot, which was a decent effort on the angle, went wide of the post. Have to say there were more well, not quite cheers, but smiles at half-time. A few of those to be had at Bramall Lane as well.
If you look at the stadium, how many empty seats there is, and the Villa end obviously is packed, rightly so. You would think 5-0 up, but if you look around the ground, there's so many empty seats.
And the ball is through again, looking for the run of Ollie Watkins from Jacob Ramsey. Cleared away at the back by Bogle, but John McGinn will pick it up. Yes, you mentioned those empty seats, Chris. We saw people leaving, didn't we, after the second goal went in, because the pattern, it was clear, was set, and Aston Villa just carving Sheffield United apart as they look to do once again. Interception on the edge of the penalty area, cleared away by Jayden Bogle, will get a ricochet on the way through off Moreno, and it will be a throw to Sheffield United, who are preparing to make what will be their next change, and it's the former Aston Villa man, Cameron Archer, joined Sheffield United from Villa last summer, and he will replace Ben Brereton-Diaz, who, as we say, had a really positive start to his Sheffield United career. 2 goals in his first 2 Premier League games, but nobody really comes out of this with any credit at all for Sheffield United.
I think it's one of them, you just got to accept what the criticism you're going to get, and whatever comes that way, you've got to just and then forget about it and prepare for the next game, and you just put that one away and say it wasn't our day and give Villa credit.
So Cameron Archer is on to face his former side once again. Did score the late opener against them at Villa Park earlier this season in the 1-1 draw. It's not going to end up as a draw here this afternoon. Aston Villa leading by 5-0. 4 of those goals coming in the opening half hour. They are, in fact, the first team to score 4 or more goals in the opening 30 minutes of an away game in the Premier League since Chelsea did it against Bolton back in 2011. And they have a free kick as well, as Paul Tierney comes over to this near side. Jayden Bogle, who is on a yellow card, just in discussions there with the assistant on this near side, tussling with Alex Moreno. There was a slight flailing arm there from Bogle. I don't think he's aware of exactly where Alex Moreno is. Moreno is still down, holding his ear. He's now helped up by Boubacar Kamara and Paul Tierney, the referee, between them. And it will be a free kick to Aston Villa, who are incredibly comfortable, leading as they are by 5-0. Yes, mentioning those very rare smiles at half-time. It was because the member of the Sheffield United media team, right from the top of the press box, managed to knock his folding chair accidentally all the way down the stairwell. Some Sheffield United fans very kindly picked it back up and gave it to him. Thankfully, he didn't go with the chair down the stairwell.
No, just as well.
But I think those were the first smiles from the home fans that I've seen inside Bramall Lane at that point. A few more for Jayden Bogle's effort in the second half, but it has been a miserable evening for the side, who are bottom and will very much be staying bottom of the Premier League. 10 points adrift of safety, and their prospects of staying in the top flight looking bleak as the ball is all the way through to Emi Martinez, who claims inside his 6-yard box and throws it out over arm. And you know, again, Aston Villa have been very, very, very good in this game, but as Emi Martinez gets a rare touch of the ball, you do think back to that moment at 0-0 early on when the ball almost squirmed underneath him and could have given Sheffield United the early lead and something to build on and hold on to. And this is it, 5-0 down. They had started with energy and good pressing, but no response whatsoever ever since John McGinn put Aston Villa ahead inside the opening 11 minutes. And that, as Sheffield United have it just inside their own half, surely will infuriate and disappoint Chris Wilder, because there's losing and then there's losing like this.
Well, as you just said, Martinez makes a save early in the game which could have changed the goal. We don't know. Diaz has a chance where he should have done better in my eyes, but apart from that, I mean, what is it to cheer about? I can't remember Martinez already touching the ball, even on back passes.
A little attempted back heel by McAtee, won't run for Jayden Bogle, and it's cleared away by Clement Longley. Well, it has been a cracking day for goals in the Premier League. Maybe not if you're a Sheffield United fan, maybe not if you're a Crystal Palace fan, but we have had some outstandingly entertaining games. 5-0 Aston Villa lead here. Finished 4-4 between Newcastle and Luton, 2-2 between Everton and Tottenham, and Burnley and Fulham, and Brighton beating Crystal Palace by 4-1. So plenty to talk about on 6:06, which is coming up here on 5 Live after this match at Bramall Lane with Robbie and Chris. And the lines are open now. Get your call in now and book it for later on to speak to the lads. 08085 909 693. Zemi Martinez has the ball just outside his own penalty area. Forward now to John McGinn, who'll play it back to Clement Longley. And Aston Villa, again, comfortable is the word. It's been far too easy for them here at Bramall Lane. They lead by 5-0 as Tielemans looks to pick it up on that right hand side, played forward by Sheffield United, where the ball is given away straight to Mr Diaby, who will lay it back to Clement Longley. And I suppose out of the many positives, Chris Waddle, for Unai Emery from this game, the fact it's 5 different scorers.
Yeah, it's nice for the confidence of the players, and the team will get a massive confidence boost, because we know Villa's been on a little bit of a blip recently. They've not been as convincing as we saw earlier in the season. But you would think that's gone now after this performance, and this result will give them so much confidence going into the games you named earlier.
And here they come now with Tielemans. Ollie Watkins, left-hand side of the area, pulls the ball across, cleared away at the back by Austin Trusty for Sheffield United, but will be picked up once more by Aston Villa and steered back to Clement Longley. Watkins, who has made it 16 goals for the season this evening, 11 in the Premier League, scoring that consolation in their last match against Newcastle. He has now scored 10 or more goals in his first 4 Premier League seasons. Aston Villa with the ball in the centre circle. The last English players to do that in their first 4 seasons in the Premier League, you have to go all the way back to the 90s for Robbie Fowler and Alan Shearer. Out to the right hand side. Once more go Aston Villa. Here is Mr Diaby. Watkins waits in the penalty area. Diaby's low ball in. It's blocked away by Robinson. Trusty will prevent the corner. Osborne then heads it straight back to Trusty, who heads it back to Osborne once more, and then clears it out for a throw over on that far side. Throw to Aston Villa, who lead by 5-0. Full time in the quarter-final in the Africa Cup of Nations. Hamish Marshall.
It's finished Mali 1, Ivory Coast 1. We're heading to extra time as Ivorian substitute Simon Adingra of Brighton with that goal from close range in the 90th minute cancelled out Neni Dorjala's 25-yard strike. 10-man Ivory Coast came from behind in their last 16 match to win on penalties. Can they do it again? 30 minutes extra time to come.
Thanks so much, Hamish, who will be keeping us right up to date throughout extra time as Aston Villa make another change, and it's 20-year-old Tim Irabunam who comes on to replace John McGinn, whose name is roared by the travelling contingent of Aston Villa fans who are packing that lower stand away to our left. It was McGinn who got things underway early on with that opening goal for Aston Villa, who lead by 5-0. And we said at the time, didn't we, Chris, it was a great effort by Ollie Watkins, hit the post, but it was McGinn who reacted fastest, and that set the tone for the game.
Everybody was ball watching, and he was the one who reacted. He thought something might lead to a tap in, and it did.
Change for Sheffield United as well. James McAtee is replaced by Tom Davis, and on a day of very few positives for Chris Wilder's side, this is one. He hasn't played since the end of September due to injury, but now makes his comeback and is on for Sheffield United, who trail on 5 Live and BBC Sounds by 5-0. Lines open for 6:06. Book your call, have your say with Robbie and Chris. 08085 909 693 as Villa come forward again. Diaby inside the penalty area trying to work room for the shot. Good save by Fotheringham, beaten away and vitally steered it away from Ollie Watkins, who was working on the edge of the 6-yard box as well, looking for that follow-up and that tap-in. Spins out of play for an Aston Villa throw. That's pretty much the first save that Fotheringham's made.
They play
as well.
very slow, Villa, don't they? They play slow, but when they go through the gears, right there, they just change the pace, didn't it? He cuts inside, beats 2, shots blocked obviously, but the tempo goes up from 4 or 5 players. You know, they move the ball a lot quicker, and there's a lot of running off the ball. But like now, what we're seeing now is the possession side, where it's very slow and the bait and the wait the time. But all of a sudden, they just go through them gears and they change the pace, and it's very hard to combat.
Nice ball by Tielemans, interchange by Diaby, and here they go. Here's that change of pace that Chris Waddle was talking about. Sheffield United make the interception on the edge of the penalty area. Vinicius Souza urged to do more and do it quickly. with that ball, and in the end they do work it out to this right-hand side, and Gustavo Harmer has Bogle on the overlap, getting forwards. Osborne wants it out on the left-hand side. Instead, Davis picks it up under pressure from Ollie Watkins and Irabunum. Aston Villa will bring it away with Jacob Ramsey looking to find Diaby, but it's well intercepted by Jack Robinson. Managed to go forwards, the centre half, but only Cameron Archer, the former Villa man, is in front of him, so goes all the way backwards, Robinson, and plays it to Vinicius Souza. Davis's pass is charged down, but Osborne will pick it up over on that far side. And honestly, what are we now? 28 minutes gone in the second half. I think this is Sheffield United's longest spell of possession, probably since Villa got the first goal inside the opening 11 minutes.
Yeah, and the crowd's cheering on, so yeah, you can tell it is.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry sometimes. Gallows humour from the Sheffield United fans. The Olays, as their team managed to string a few passes together. Aston Villa have won it back though. Big boos. Bon Osborne's won it back. More cheers. Out on that left-hand side. Sheffield United playing from left to right. Is there an acceptance that this season is pretty much done, do you feel?
No, I think you've got to keep going. You never know what's going to happen. We know that in football, but you would say that what we've seen in this season so far, you would say that the Sheffield United and Burnley look as if they're going to do it. Can you see them getting out of it? Not really.
Ball forward by Jacob Ramsey is intercepted by Ahmed Hodzic and picked up by Jayden Bogle, who's looking for the runners, and now the frustration comes in because they just aren't there for Sheffield United. It's static in midfield. Now they bring the ball forward down the left-hand side, but again the movement just isn't there for Sheffield United in front of the ball, and they go all the way back to the halfway line. 29 minutes played in this second half. Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 5. Villa's 4 opening goals coming inside the opening half an hour as Sheffield United work it down the left-hand side once more with Trusty, who will play it back in field to Vinicius Souza and Jack Robinson. Now we'll send it out to the left-hand side once again, and Trusty, who's moved out to that left wing-back position. Osborne now dinks the ball forward, looking for Cameron Archer down by the byline. All he can do is keep it in and then send it out for a throw to Aston Villa deep in their own territory. Chris Waddle.
It's very difficult for the players Sheffield United to go through this. I mean, obviously, they've been well beaten so far, and confidence-wise, it must have a massive effect on them. And going into the next few games, it's got to have,
They've won the ball back though outside the Aston Villa penalty area. Ball is played into the centre. Harmer, the shot driven in by Tom Davis, blocked away. And again, 15 minutes to play. That's probably the best move since the opening few minutes that Sheffield United have put together. They've given the ball away though, up towards Ollie Watkins. Lovely layoff inside the centre circle. Beautiful piece of skill to find Jacob Ramsey, and Villa are streaming forward once again. Here is Tielemans, has Diaby to his right. Tielemans delayed, challenged by Ahmed Hodzic, wins it back on the edge of the penalty area. Tielemans forward to Diaby, little 1-2. Tielemans missed taking it in his stride. Let off for Sheffield United, who still trail by 5 goals to 0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. And Tom Davis sends it forward now. Cameron Archer, the former Villa man, head down to the edge of the penalty area. Checks back one way, then the other. Tried to pull the ball across. It's blocked behind for a Sheffield United corner. And that gets the biggest cheer of the evening from the home fans. They trail Villa by 5 goals.
Archer did very well, didn't he, on the break? Counter-attack, he stays on side. Comes inside to get that shot off with his right foot, then checks back onto his left and gets a corner out of it.
So Gustavo Harmer is over to that far side to take this corner. Plenty of red seats around Bramall Lane now, but the fans behind that stand, behind that goal away to our right, on their feet watching this corner come in. Can they at least get on the score sheet? The header across goal, cleared off the line. Souza will keep it alive, send it out to the left-hand side. Harmer sends it in once again. Good save by Martinez, and again brilliant double save, and challenge right in the 6-yard box as Mason Holgate looks to get on the end of it on his debut for Sheffield United. Finally they give Martinez something to do, and he does it brilliantly.
Absolutely brilliant. He is a class goalkeeper, isn't he? He's fantastic.
More on that double save in a moment, but another Sheffield United corner headed away by Aston Villa towards the edge of the penalty area, flicked on by Moreno. Osborne will stop the counter-attack from Diaby. Matty Cash now heads the ball away for Villa. Moreno helps it on once again. Holgate forwards, sends it towards the penalty area. Davis wins the header. Irabunum will bring it down for Aston Villa. And now Diaby is in space, and you can hear the collective groan around Bramall Lane as Diaby races towards the penalty area. Good challenge by Sousa, who got back. Sheffield United have it. What about that double save from Emi Martinez?
Well, he's never been called upon. His concentration levels are fantastic, aren't they? He's had nothing to do all game. Part of that save in the first 5 minutes. Brilliant double save, and yeah, I think Villa just getting a little bit complacent and let Sheffield United in.
But they, for now, have preserved that clean sheet as the ball is all the way through with Emi Martinez. And they still lead by 5-0. 12 minutes plus added time to play. They are about Aston Villa to give a debut to Morgan Rogers, who arrived this week from Middlesbrough. He is ready to come on. Emi Martinez for the first time slowing the game down for Aston Villa. So in terms of Sheffield United's games coming up, a huge one away to Luton next Saturday. Luton, who drew 4-4 with Newcastle at St James's Park this afternoon. So much action to catch up on Match of the Day, BBC One tonight at 10:20, and so much action to have your say on with Robbie and Chris. 6:06 follows us. The lines are open now. 08085 909 693. Here at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, Aston Villa 5, as the ball is back with Emi Martinez, and Aston Villa will be going into the top 4 tonight. And if you look at how close it is in the table, Liverpool leading the way on 51 points, then 5 points behind Manchester City on 46, played 21, Arsenal on 46, played 22, and Aston Villa on 46, played 23.
I do think there's probably 3 going for the title and the rest for that 4th spot.
So Ollie Watkins dispossessed on the halfway line, and Sheffield United will come forward once more. And Archer will chase that, but Diego Carlos is across quickly, and Moreno will keep that ball in as it was played to him and square it now to Boubacar Kamara. Matty Cash is getting forwards, leaves it for Diaby as Aston Villa in the blue-grey shirts stream forward once more. Diaby's ball into the area, Tielemans trying to collect it, Matty Cash can't keep it in. I think he wants another goal, Tielemans. He's missed a couple of chances in this second half.
He's been the player for me who's made them play tonight. So a substitution, yep.
Yeah, he's not going to get it. He's coming off. Morgan Rogers is coming on for Youri Tielemans. So a debut for the 21-year-old, who played for Middlesbrough against Aston Villa in the FA Cup this season. Only joined Middlesbrough last summer from Manchester City. Turned down 3 bids for Villa from him in this January transfer window before finally agreeing that fee of £8 million. Could get as high as 15 million with add-ons. So Morgan Rogers, double high five with Youri Tielemans, comes on to make his Aston Villa debut. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, he'll be very nervous. I know he's trained a few days obviously with him, but yeah, a lot different from the Championship there. So, but he's coming on at a good time, and he's 5-0 up. He can't. He'd be looking actually to think, can I get a goal?
Yeah, 5 different goal scorers already this evening for Aston Villa. Will add a 6th to that list as the ball goes out of play for a Sheffield United throw midway through the Aston Villa half. Sheffield United, who will stay very much bottom of the Premier League on 10 points. They are only, ahead of this game, the 4th team to accrue 10 points or fewer after 22 games of a Premier League season. Bolton, Sunderland and Derby, the others all finished bottom in their respective campaigns. Long throw into the area, cleared away by Matty Cash for Aston Villa for another Sheffield United throw. As Chris Wilder stands just in front of his dugout, hands in his pockets. Throw taken quickly but not from the right place, says referee Paul Tierney. And Sheffield United will have this throw to take once again, this time from the correct place, and they go in field to Vinicius Sousa. He's almost dispossessed but just manages to hold off the Aston Villa debutant Morgan Rogers and goes back to halfway.
Yeah, I mean the tempo's gone out of it, and Sheffield United have obviously got to keep trying, and rightly so. It's a home game. You want to see effort. The fans are demanding that, you know that. So having a go, Sheffield United, let's be clear. And Villa basically have come right off the pace and tried to slow the game down.
Yeah, they've been 5-0 up since the 47th minute as the ball is sent straight out of play for a throw to Sheffield United.
I watched Emery when they nearly scored from a corner set piece before Sheffield United, when they had that corner and they nearly scored. I watched Emery with a set piece man, and he actually pushed him into the dugout, like threw him back in the dugout as if to say, go away. So
yeah, Austin McPhee, the set piece coach, and Aston Villa not happy. Neither was Unai Emery. It's the ball is worked out to the left-hand side. It did bring us two moments of class from Emi Martinez, a fantastic double save to preserve Aston Villa's clean sheets. They are most certainly preserving the 3 points. They've done that since the opening half hour, and before that even, really. 4-0 up inside 30 minutes. Quite remarkable, slicing Sheffield United apart again and again, and certainly shaking themselves out of this recent indifferent form. They're moving into the top 4, Aston Villa, and they're doing so in some style. And they're in possession just inside their own half. In terms of players that have come on and looked slightly lively for Sheffield United, Cameron Archer has had a couple of good runs, but again, you really are clutching at straws.
I mean, Villa's come off the pace, and you've got nothing to lose, have you? Let's be honest. You go on, it's a free hit. You're going to run around, and you may get chances to see, because Villa's got a bit sloppy the last 15 minutes. Sheffield United have kept plugging away. Had a couple of half chances, didn't they? So a couple of chances which Martinez saved. So yeah, but Villa got sloppy. Got sloppy there again.
And they've lost possession, and here is Tom Davis up against Tim Irabunum. Sends it out to the left-hand side. Osborne with the drive. Martinez flapped it in. It does spin out of play though, right across the penalty area. Goes out of play for an Aston Villa throw, but just a few late signs from Sheffield United. But again, I doubt Chris Wilder's really going to see any positives from this.
No, I don't think he will. I think the only thing he'll say is they kept plugging away. You know, they've kept the tempo. They're trying to keep going and having a go. He's made a lot of substitutions. They've tried it, but as I say, I think that's more Villa being complacent because they're 5-0 up. And I think, you know, and it does happen. I've played in teams when you're winning comfortably, you get a little bit, you come off the pace, you get a little bit arrogant, and you know, and that's probably what's happened with Villa. They can't get back into the rhythm they're in.
They have the throw deep inside their own territory. Longley has sent it to Emi Martinez. Didn't really do his goalkeeper any favours there because Cameron Archer was right there, but good control by Martinez and sent it out to the right hand side. And Aston Villa are away on the counter once again. Here goes Matty Cash bursting down the right, feeds Moussa Diaby, edge of the penalty area, cuts it in. Oh, Cash, was he pushed over? Morgan Rogers fires over. It's a Sheffield United goal kick. No real appeal there from Matty Cash, but he came bursting into the penalty area, came through to Rogers anyway. Big chance there for a goal on his debut off the bench.
Cash, what a chance, Rogers. He's probably dreamt of that last night, you know, thinking if I get on my debut and if I can score, I'd love to, and he's not going to get a better chance.
6:06 follows us, just a few moments away here on 5 Live from BBC Sounds. Book your call now, the lines are open. Have your say with Robbie and Chris. 08085 909 693. So much to talk about in the Premier League this afternoon. 4-4 between Newcastle and Luton at St James's Park. 2-2 between Everton and Tottenham, and Burnley and Fulham as well. Brighton beating Crystal Palace by 4-1, and Aston Villa 5-0 up here at Sheffield United. It's been a cracking day in the Six Nations as well. England just scraping past Italy by 27 points to 24, and Scotland, who were 27-0 up at one point away to Wales, winning by a single point, 27-26. Wales almost pulling off the most remarkable comeback. There will be no such comeback for Sheffield United. Alex Moreno picks it up inside the Aston Villa half. They lead by 5-0. What do you feel has been the most impressive thing about this Villa performance, Chris?
I just like the way the tempo play, the sort of walking pace, don't they? And then all of a sudden they just go through the gears, and the movement's good. They've got some very good players. You know, Tielemans playing in that hole. You know, he normally played a midfield player at Leicester, didn't he? You know, and Emery's got him playing behind Watkins in that little number 10 type role, and he causes a lot of problems. He's technically very good, sees a pass. He's been a handful, and you've got to say first half Bailey was very good down this right hand side. Every time he got the ball he looked lively, but I just think Villa are a very good side, and I can see why they're up the top. I mean, it's not chance and it's not luck. They are a very good outfit, and every team's got a sort of a weakness. Sometimes they play too high for me, and sometimes they play too slow. But you know, the league position doesn't lie. They're a good side.
2 wins in 7 games in all competitions before this for Unai Emery's side, as Emi Martinez has it inside his own penalty area. But they're back with a bang, they're back in form, and they're back in the top 4 as well. Moving above Tottenham this evening. And they clear downfield. Little slip by Diego Carlos out on that far side, and Sheffield United have the throw. They've taken it quickly. Here is Cameron Archer, the former Villa man, to Ben Osborne now on the left-hand side. 2 minutes plus added time to play. Lines open for 606 08085 909 693. Get your call in now. Sheffield United have possession on the halfway line, sent forward by Mason Holgate. Lovely ball out to Ben Osborne on the left-hand side. We'll play it back to Jack Robinson, who now advances the centre half towards that Aston Villa penalty area. Play back once more to Ahmed Hodzic. Villa, of course, with a big week coming up. Their FA Cup replay against Chelsea as the ball breaks inside the area. Cameron Archer almost loses his footing. Brilliant block by Longley. Archer picks it up down by the byline, trying to get the ball across, still left-hand side of the penalty area, twisting and turning. Kamara's there. Osborne now will swing it in. Davis was in there, headed away at the back by Aston Villa, up towards halfway, and Ahmed Hodzic. That was almost another goal for Cameron Archer against his former side, as Sheffield United have it on the left-hand side. Harmer takes charge. Suddenly it's opening up. Harmer pulls the ball across, flashes right across the 6-yard box. Martinez didn't get anything on it. Or maybe he did. Goes behind. It's been given as a corner.
Although Harmer there should have tried to pick somebody out, he's just flashed it across the goal. We're not really looking, you know, and he did have 2 or 3 red shirts arriving. So, I mean, the finishing pretty strong, but you've got to say Villa have just switched off.
Can they preserve this clean sheet? Can Sheffield United find a goal? Harmer's delivery in, cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box by Aston Villa out of the penalty area. Harmer picks it up once again. Villa really deep here. Alex Moreno it is who comes racing out to put a bit of pressure on Osborne in the centre circle. Sousa will head it forward. Was that a foul there by Kamara on Ahmed Hodzic? It was, according to referee Paul Tierney. Well, Kamara is saying that both players had their feet up there, but Paul Tierney says no, you're the one that caught Ahmed Hodzic. And it will be free kick to Sheffield United, just shy of 30 yards out, very central position. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, I would think, you know, get a strike on it. I don't think you need to dink the ball into the far post or whatever. Listen, that is shooting range, and why not? What you got to lose, by the way? You're 5-0 down.
So Ben Osborne is one of the players over this, but moves away now. Sheffield United's. Will they go for goal? So they look to get a goal back. Aston Villa leading by 5 goals to nil as we enter 5 minutes of added time. Yeah, they were 4-0 up at the end of the first half, 4 minutes added time. 5-0 up at the end of the second half as the ball is dinked in to the left-hand side of the penalty area. And they do have their goal. Sheffield United get a goal back right at the end of this game. And I'm not sure whether the cheers are heartfelt or ironic. Vinicius Sousa runs away with the ball, not quite celebrating, but he'll have a smile on the insides because Sheffield United have at least got on the score sheet at the end of a very, very disappointing evening. Sheffield United 1, Aston Villa 5.
There's a touch maybe of offside on the first one, but definitely not the second one. I suppose Val will be looking at it.
Well, this would just cap it off for Sheffield United, wouldn't it? If it got ruled out by VAR, it'd say, oh, booze, because it's coming up, possible offside. It is a lovely finish, isn't it, by Vinicius Sousa, but is there an offside earlier in the move?
The first one, yes, I think the first one could be offside, but second one, no, look, I think it's the first one there, look. Yeah, it could be.
Very, very tight.
Yeah,
they'll be drawing the lines.
I think they might get away with this.
Well, I'm not even sure you can call it a crumb of comfort. I don't think it is.
I don't think he will. His foot's off, isn't it?
Yeah, how much movement is there? It looks as though...
No, I don't think you get it.
This might go. This goal might be chalked off. They're having a real look. They're zooming in. It's all got very pixelated. The lines aren't up yet. We're seeing this on the replays. All the crowd know is that there's a possible offside as Aston Villa wait to get us back underway.
It's the worst thing that ever came into football. Do you know that?
There's a few that might be of that opinion, Chris.
No. I mean, people are standing here around for 10 minutes. Absolutely ridiculous. How can you not see there's a leg? He's offside.
Well, the boos are ringing around Bramall Lane. I wonder why they're not playing it on just to see, exactly. Because there's a few players there that are just on that line. Who exactly is involved in the move? Then they'll have to check the attacking phase of play as well, if this isn't offside, and just make sure there was nothing else there. I mean, we're just seeing the camera zoom in, zoom out, and that's more than most of the fans in Bramall Lane are seeing. But we're not seeing any lines yet, but it does look from that position. Sheffield United wait to see if they have got this consolation. Now the red line is up. It looks as though, it's going to be ruled out. And, Chris Waddle, you did call it.
He's offside. Hold on, I called it 3 minutes ago. And now you've got the technology. And they're sitting in a warm room. We're freezing out here.
Does heat and temperature make a difference to how well you can appreciate VAR?
Let's be honest, how did it take time to decide on that?
There we go, offside. Paul Tierney raises his arm. The Aston Villa fans celebrate. It's been a brilliant evening for them, and it looks as though it's pretty much perfect because they preserve their clean sheet. We will play on as the image is shown on the screen. The fans inside Bramall Lane can now see why that goal was ruled out, and it's probably been the most exciting thing that's happened from a Sheffield United perspective all game, and pretty much sums up the evening, but it hasn't even started.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give them credit, Sheffield United, at the end, because they have stuck at it. They've stuck at it. They haven't lied down and think, well, it could be 6, 7, 8 like Newcastle game. They've stuck at it, and they've had 4 or 5 good chances. I know. Listen, I'm not saying they all go in. It's a different game, but at least they've kept at it.
So long clearance by Emi Martinez, flicked forwards by Aston Villa, but cleared once more. This time by Mason Holgate for Sheffield United. Kamara sends it forward once more, only as far as Osborne. Will play the ball over the top, looking for Cameron Archer, who probably has been Sheffield United's best player coming off the bench in this second half. Against his former side, he's caused problems with his movement inside the penalty area, movement that's sadly been lacking.
Yeah, I think he's been. I know it's against his old club, and Villa have switched off. Let's be honest, they've dropped the tempo, and he's come on and he's been very lively. Aim has been very lively. You've got to be looking at these players who can create, because Sheffield United need to score goals and win games.
Fotheringham will clear long for Sheffield United up towards the halfway line, cleared away by Matty Cash. Diaby brings it down beautifully, but is dispossessed by Sousa, who's seen that goal chalked off late on for Sheffield United. Villa still leading by 5-0 and heading into the Premier League's top 4 as Bogle trying to get around the outside of Alex Moreno. He makes the interception back to Longley. Let's head to the Africa Cup of Nations. Hamish Marshall.
We're a couple of minutes into the second period of extra time. It's still Mali 1, Ivory Coast 1. Ivory Coast have had the best chance of extra time. Sebastian Haller heading onto the bar from 8 yards out. The Ivorians have now played more than an hour with 10 men, but they've got the momentum. Penalties a distinct possibility. Mali 1, Ivory Coast 1.
Thanks, Hamish. Aston Villa with the ball inside their own penalty area. Diego Carlos really does. Well, it's not even walking pace, it's standing pace, isn't it? I'm surprised he didn't look at his watch there. Out to the right-hand side he goes, and Matty Cash. Aston Villa leading by 5-0 here on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. A reminder, 6:06 coming up after the conclusion of this game at Bramall Lane. Lines are open now. 08085 909 693. So much to talk about on this cracking afternoon in the Premier League. So many goals. 4-4 Newcastle and Luton finished. 2-2 between Everton and Tottenham, and Burnley Fulham. Brighton beat Crystal Palace by 4-1. And Aston Villa leading 5-0 here against Sheffield United, who have had this late goal chalked off. All the goals, of course, to enjoy as well on Match of the Day this evening, 10:20 on BBC Warners. Kamara heads it forward on the halfway line. Osborne wins the header for Sheffield United, and Aman Hodzic will pick it up and steer it to Bogle. Plays the ball over the top, looking for the run of Harmer. Will be cleared away by Alex Moreno, and Ramsey will play it forward now to Irabuna. Back to Ramsey once more. We played the minimum 5 minutes added on, but we will have a little bit of extra time because of that VAR check to rule out that Sheffield United goal for offside. As Matty Cash brings it down the right hand side, good run by Diaby, could be in behind. A Villa going to finish with a flourish, cleared away by Mason Holgate, out for a Villa throw.
They've got out balls there, aren't they? Diaby or Bailey, they've got a terrific turn of pace, haven't they? So, when you get them to feet, and the player doesn't let them get the feet to take them on, but we've wanted to give them a race. They're very quick as well.
Here's Morgan Rogers, plays the ball straight out of play, and it will be a Sheffield United throw. And now the stands really are emptying around Bramall Lane as the camera pans to Chris Wilder, who stands on the edge of his technical area, deep in thought, because it is going to need a miracle to keep Sheffield United from slipping back into the Championship this season. They are 10 points from safety, bottom of the Premier League, and all the records, all the stats make for grim reading. In terms of positives, most recently it's been the goals they've scored, but apart from the final 10 minutes, it has been a shell-shock performance.
I think
against
Chris will have thought they've stuck at it, which is a positive, and the substitutes who come on have looked lively, and that'll give him something to think about the next game, to think, do I start playing these? Because the subs who've come on haven't done themselves any harm.
Strong challenge on Bubakar Kamara from Jack Robinson. And Aston Villa have a free kick. We have played 8 minutes of added time, which was pretty much as long as the VAR check took, wasn't it?
Oh, I felt like an hour, that.
We got another hour? Is that what you're telling me, Chris Wadham?
VAR the way it would be. There you go.
That's the first prediction you got wrong all game, because the final whistle goes and you can hear the boos around Bramall Lane. They've been building since the opening 10 minutes, really. It has been a desperately poor performance by Sheffield United. 4-0 down after just half an hour, conceding in the opening 2 minutes of the second half as well. Even their goal at the end was ruled out as well after a VAR check deemed it offside. Chris Waddle, it's been a very, very disappointing evening for Sheffield United. How damaging will this be going?
Yeah, I think after the first 5 minutes we thought we were in for a game. Burton Diaz has a great opportunity. Martinez does a save, nearly throws it into his net, but he didn't. And after that it was all Aston Villa. Controlled the game, controlled the pace. Tielemans, excellent. You've got to say Bailey, first half was very, very good down this right hand side, and they just controlled the game, and they just couldn't get near them, Sheffield United. But they did finish strong, Sheffield United, give them credit for that.
5 different goal scorers for Aston Villa: McGinn, Watkins, Bailey, Tielemans in the first half, Moreno in the second. It's been a 5-star performance, and it moves them back into the top 4. Get your calls in now to 606, which is coming up. Ring Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton, 08085 909 693. They are coming up next on 5 Live after the latest news with Jill McKenzie.